Welcome back into the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know it is your boy Ray G, joined as always by my dog, my co-host of Wake Up with Ray and Jay show, JRich, back with some Week 4 NFL rankings for the fantasy football season. We're going to talk through quarterbacks and running backs today. We got about 15 quarterbacks we're going to talk through and about 30 running backs. We've got them tiered to help you win your matchups this week. We're going to talk about the players, the opportunity, the matchups, all of that good stuff. Jay, let's get in right into it with our top 5 quarterbacks on the week. Who we got?
So we're starting off, no surprise, at number 1 with none other than the Stallion himself, Josh Allen. You see the top 5 quarterbacks in order: Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. Studs, can pass the ball, can run the ball. We know what they can do. They have to be your top tier. You're starting all of these guys. We do have a couple of game stacks, Ray. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray versus Jaden Daniels. Is there anything you want to touch on with these guys? Feels like they're set and forget, easy to start each and every week.
Yeah, that matchup between the Commanders and the Cardinals, 50-point total, game total in that one according to DraftKings. I expect both Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray to put on a show. Both of those defenses are susceptible to the pass, and both of these offenses have seemed to get it clicking as of late. Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels got it going against the Cincinnati Bengals, and we know what Kyler and Marv have been able to do early throughout the season. No Trey McBride for the Cardinals this weekend is what it's looking like. So a lot more concentration, hopefully, to some of those other targets. Elijah Higgins, a little more opportunity, but Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, I really like this matchup for Kyler and Daniels. Lamar and Allen, I mean, Sunday night matchup. These are two heavyweights, two titans, and what they each do well, the other team's defense, they do not do a good job of stopping what those quarterback superpowers are. So I think we're in good shape there with those two guys inside the top 5. And then Jalen Hurts. I know it's been a bit rocky if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, but from a fantasy scoring perspective, Hurts is still getting the job done.
Yeah, it's only scary because A.J. Brown, definitely not going to play.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith, probably not going to play. And Lane Johnson still hasn't cleared concussion protocol either. So it will be a heavy dose of Dallas Goedert, and you will see that in our tight end rankings, and a hell of a lot of Saquon Barkley. But we know that Hurts can do it on his own and run very effectively. So I'm still fine having him in the top 5, but maybe there's a world, Ray, where he's not in our top 5 going forward. I think we can move on through 6 through 12. At number 6, we have Joe Burrow. At 7, we have CJ Stroud. At 8, we have Caleb Williams, because I'm a big fan of Caleb this week. At 9, we have Patrick Mahomes. Then we have Justin Fields at 10 and Brock Purdy at 11. Dak Prescott is also a quarterback who slid in here, but we took him out of the tiers because he's already played. Ray, do you have anything you want to say about these guys? My biggest fear on this list is CJ Stroud. Nico Collins banged up. Tank Dell not playing. Joe Mixon not practicing. Damian Pierce not practicing. So he may be without multiple playmakers. The matchup is great against the Jags, but how do you feel about CJ Stroud and some of these other quarterbacks?
Yeah, if he's down Nico Collins and Tank Dell, that significantly hurts that offensive upside. Those are two major parts of the offense. Nico Collins, one of the best receivers in the NFL. It was a down week last week for Stroud versus Brian Flores' defense. This is a very, very exploitable matchup against the Jags. So let's have our fingers crossed that Nico Collins plays, but this could be a big, big matchup and a big spot for Stephon Diggs if Nico and Tank Dell are out. Justin Fields versus Indianapolis. This is a Colts team that can be thrown on. And we know that the Pittsburgh Steelers have not asked Fields to do a lot of passing so far, but this could be the week that they start to get him going a little bit more. They're 3-0. The defense is playing well. Should be a good game script for Fields. Really like him inside of our top 12 this week. And Patrick Mahomes, a little bit of a faller, a little bit of a slider. He's got a matchup this week against a Chargers defense that's going to be down Derwin James. We know what Patrick Mahomes can do, but so far throughout the season, he needs some of his other weapons to step up. You're down Isaiah Pacheco. Travis Kelce hasn't gotten it going early. It's a lot of Rashee Rice and nobody else. So had to move Patrick Mahomes down a tad bit this week. But let's wrap up with sort of the last of the top 15 quarterbacks.
Yeah, so Anthony Richardson, not in our top 15 for either of us, which is a big surprise, but he has that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. But 13 through 15, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and not Bryce Young, but Andy Dalton in the revenge game against Cincinnati Bengals. The one player, Ray, that I think we potentially could have ranked too low is Geno Smith. He's played against played against Detroit the past 2 seasons. In Detroit, he has 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in both of those games. And so you look at where you have DK Metcalf ranked. I have him ranked fairly high as well. Geno's the one player I think could make us look a little bit silly. Sam Darnold up against that Green Bay defense, that's another one. And then Jordan Love on the other side of that game could be a very high scoring one, but there is still the injury concerns with Love. That's why he's not ranked inside of our top 16 at either spot. How do you feel about these three guys? And is there anyone else you think that's worth ranking in the top 15?
Yeah, Sam Darnold, I feel good about it. I know it's a tough matchup for Green Bay, but Kevin O'Connell and that offense is rolling right now. So I've got no concerns about Darnold. I'm with you because I am very bullish on DK Metcalf this week. So Geno Smith could be one of those players that we got ranked outside the top 12 that absolutely finishes as a QB1 on the week. And Andy Dalton, not Bryce Young. I know that's the picture that's up here, but this is Andy Dalton. This matchup against Cincinnati, the Bengals defense did not allow a punt. They did not force a punt versus the Commanders. The defense is not very good. And on the other side of the ball, the Carolina Panthers defense isn't very good either. So if you think Joe Burrow is going to finish as QB6 on the week and they're going to put up points, this over-under, the point total is 47.5, Jay. So there are going to be points scored in this one. Andy Dalton is a veteran quarterback. Maybe a little revenge game. Andy Dalton wants to show his old team that he can still sling it. I like Andy Dalton in this matchup versus Cincinnati. I think there could be some fantasy points for he and the rushing game as well as Deontay Johnson. So that's who I got. The players that we didn't put in here that we did not talk about, Jordan Love, I'm still a little hesitant coming off of the knee versus Minnesota first game back. Justin Herbert, I don't believe he's going to play.
Yeah.
No ALLGAS versus Pittsburgh. I can't do it. If I've got other options versus the Steelers, I cannot start Anthony Richardson versus that defense. And Jay, I'm going to leave Baker Mayfield alone. Last week, I ranked him real high, and he burned me. I'm not even fooling around with Baker this week. He's got to get it going. Philly, good matchup for him. I do like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, so there could be some sneaky potential for Baker Mayfield. But those are our top 15 quarterbacks on the week and a few that we did not touch on. Jay, are you ready to pivot to the running back position, the position that has been decimated by injury early this season? We need to talk about it now.
Yeah, I mean, the running back position has been brutal so far. Now, luckily for us, ranking at number one is very, very easy, but we do have this elite tier at the top, and it's usage, it's how they're being utilized in the offense, and more importantly, just the amount of touches they see every single week. At number 1 through 4, Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Kyren Williams, and not Christian McCaffrey, but Jordan Mason. These guys, Ray, I got them all scoring this week. Saquon's going to score, Breece going to score, Kyron's going to score, and Mason's going to score, especially after he didn't this past week. Elite usage, elite opportunity, and I think all these guys are going to be great for fantasy this week. How do you feel about this top 4, and do you think anyone else could be in this elite tier?
Talk about Kyren Williams. This is a matchup versus the Chicago Bears. You know, we weren't as high on Kyren last week, and he went out there, and it is very clear. Sean McVay, there is no rotation. There is no Blake Corum. It's all Kyren Williams. So at this point, I mean, you just have to have him as a top 5 back rest away. The volume, the opportunity, the usage is too good. I'm actually going to run an anytime touchdown parlay with all 4 of these players, with Mason, with Kyren, with Breece, and with Saquon Barkley. Love this matchup for Saquon versus a Tampa Bay defense that you can exploit on the ground. Let's talk through some of the other backs that didn't fit that elite top 4 category for us, but they're still top 12 RB1 options on the week.
Yeah, so we have Alvin Kamara next, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, who I love this week, Bijan Robinson, who we're both a bit hesitant to rank because the usage and the opportunity hasn't quite been what we've seen. James Conner every week, bell cow Conner has to be in the top 12. You look at James Cook, who we love as well, especially against this Baltimore defense, has been really struggling lately. Jahmyr Gibbs, and then Aaron Jones. These guys, I think, all have very, very good opportunity. You know, we want to put Kamara in that top section, but I just don't think it's going to be quite there against this Falcons defense. I think that he's going to struggle a bit, and he's a bit banged up coming off this week. The one guy, Ray, that I really wanted to put in this top 12, but didn't quite make it for us is Brian Robinson, because he's going to be bell cow B-Rob this week with Austin Eckler out. I really like him this week, but is there anyone else that you like and you want to kind of put in this top 12 or think is in top 12 consideration, or do you really like this tier with where it's at?
Yeah, I think this is a solid tier. I really like Jonathan Taylor, even though it's a difficult matchup against Pittsburgh. He has looked so good rushing the ball this year. Derrick Henry against the Buffalo Bills defense should be able to find room. And Bijan Robinson, you watch him, and it's like he's just one shoestring tackle away from
Every
ripping off
time.
a big run, and then they just turn away from him. They give Algier the ball. They do other things. So it's the usage is there, the skill and the talent is there. It's just like the situational deployment by the Falcons is a little head scratching sometimes with Bijan Robinson. Gibbs, Aaron Jones, James Conner versus this Commanders defense. I think these are all top 12 running backs on the week. But get to those rock solid RB2s that have RB1 upside.
Yeah, so at number one, of course, Brian Robinson. I mean, with Austin Eckler out, he should absolutely smash this week. Devon Achane is a player that we both struggled to rank because this Miami offense is going to look really poor. Is it Tyler Huntley? We know that Skylar Thompson returned to practice. It is expected to be Tyler Huntley this week, but what does Achane do? How is Tyreek Hill going to be involved? Can they move the ball? Can they score at all? Chuba Hubbard in the rock-solid RB2s after how he looked this past week. Love him. We love Andy Dalton. We love Chuba Hubbard. Travis Etienne, a player I still struggle to rank because I don't know if he's a good running back. He does see a lot of opportunity, but it doesn't amount to too many fantasy points. Josh Jacobs, you finally jumped on the train to say he's good, he gets opportunity, but he just hasn't delivered the goods for fantasy owners yet. I do think he can get in the end zone this week. He's still trying to find the end zone, and I think that he can this week, but Josh Jacobs is more of a volume play than a sure thing. Dave Montgomery, great chance to score, always very high when you talk about anytime touchdown, but always falls behind Jahmyr Gibbs because he's not going to catch as many passes. Zach Moss also looks very good for a lot of people this week up against this Carolina Panthers defense. And Najee Harris, the bell cow of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know they're going to run the ball a lot against Indy, and I like the matchup, and Justin Fields has a great one as well, so Najee should be heavily involved and has a great chance at a touchdown. Is there anything you want to talk about from these guys?
No, I'm with you. Brian Robinson is in a really good spot this week versus the Cardinals, and he's rushed well. He's looked good this season. He's a running back that can handle work, handle opportunity, can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's just one of these guys we're going to look up in 3 years, and he's still going to be a starting running back. You'll never view him as one of the best in the league, but just his ability to be available and to handle the work. I like Robinson in this matchup this week. Chuba Hubbard got it going. The Carolina Panthers offense found life with Andy Dalton. And again, this is a matchup where the projected point total is quite high on the weekend. Josh Jacobs versus Minnesota. It's a tough matchup. This is a tough matchup, especially if Jordan Love is not playing, or even if he does and he's not 100%. Really want to see Zach Moss continue what looked like to be some momentum that he was building last week versus the Commanders in a loss. And then Najee Harris versus Indianapolis. They've got a decent run defense, but Najee's going to get the ball 15 to 20 times. So I think you're fine with him as an RB2. Some of those fringe guys, Jay, we got J.K. Dobbins, Zach Charbonnet, Tony Pollard, and Rachaad White in sort of that fringe RB2, RB2 back-end RB2 range.
Yeah, Dobbins was really hard to rank because I think if you're the Chiefs, it doesn't really matter who's playing quarterback, either a hobble Justin Herbert or Taylor Heineke, who looked absolutely dreadful when he did come in. So I think if you're the Chiefs, just stop Dobbins. He's really the only thing that's really scared defenses this season. So you key in on Dobbins, you'll be just fine. I think Dobbins is going to struggle to get loose in this game. Zach Charbonnet could deal with the return of Kenneth Walker, at which point I may have Walker as a rock-solid RB2, but wouldn't go any higher due to the oblique injury. He hasn't played since week 1, and Charbonnet has been so bad, I just can't possibly rank him much higher than where he is right now. Tony Pollard, I don't love the matchup against Miami, and Rachaad White doesn't do anything but catch passes, and he's not even doing much of that right now. With the way that Bucky Irving's been utilized, I don't think Rachaad White's going to deliver much more than a back-end RB2. We also like Braylon Allen, Ramondre Stevenson, Jerome Ford. I assume that's Carson Steele and not Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, that's Steele.
And then whoever the hell is starting for the Houston Texans, whether it's Dameon Pierce or Cam Akers, they could be an RB3/flex. Love Braylon Allen and the way he's utilized in that Jets offense. Ramondre just has such a difficult matchup this week against the 49ers. Jerome Ford, we'll see how he's utilized. Carson Steele does have a Kareem Hunt problem this week with him being activated, and I don't love Cam Akers, even though he scored last week and I had him ranked really, really high. I just don't think he's good enough right now to deliver for fantasy owners, so for me, he's an RB3. Do you have anything you want to touch on with these guys, Ray, or is there anyone else you've been considering in your ranks?
Would you consider it? Do you consider the Bears running back Roschon Johnson? And I know it's Khalil Herbert, but the reports are Roschon Johnson is going to get an extended look, played a little bit last week. Bigger running back. DeAndre Swift has not been very good so far. So just quickly touch on, I want to touch on Zamir White and Roschon Johnson. Zamir White, Roschon Johnson.
Wow, you're really like making me touch on these bad running backs. So Zamir White, inefficient, bad offense, no thank you. In terms
Okay.
of Roshan Johnson, I just don't want to start him because of this report that this extended look. What is an extended look? What does that
Yeah.
look like? What does it mean? It doesn't guarantee anything. And so that's my fear with Roshan, is that if you're banking on him, you're probably going to need him to do things in the receiving game, which he's great at, but the actual opportunity that you can project for him is extremely limited. You don't know what extended look means. It could mean pass blocking snaps for all we know. And that's the other issue, is that when you look at DeAndre Swift, he's been inefficient in the running game. And part of that is the offensive line as well. So I'm not ready to start Roshan. I think we should definitely monitor what happens with him, especially his snap share. But starting him this week is definitely a little bit out over your skis.
All right, there it is. Our top 15 quarterbacks and about 30 or so running backs that we ranked on the week 4. Appreciate you checking out this video. We've got another one. Check out our wide receivers and tight ends rankings video. Good luck in week 4, and we'll see y'all on the channel soon. We're out. Peace.